Ed, and here is my partner Marnie. Thanks for joining us today on the Unwritten Chapter. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness and unconditional love. Good afternoon. You know, in a world filled with turmoil, how do we rectify with Jesus' love and his commandments of love your neighbor? I think we just simply take him on the literal. He says, love your neighbor as yourself. You know, he declares in Matthew that there are the two most important commandments of the Bible are love your God and love your neighbor. So, you know, with that, he doesn't say love your neighbor except if they are an immigrant, or love your neighbor except if they don't agree with you politically, or love your neighbor if they're a Christian, or love your neighbor if whatever. There's no asterisk behind it. Why do we as humans want to put an asterisk behind everything that we do? You know, if Jesus loves us so much that he died on the cross for us, is it really hard for us to love others? You know, I talked about this last week in a video where Jesus forgives us as far as east is from the west. You know, that is infinite. And some people may not think that's very much, but, you know, I don't think I did it justice when I did the video this week. And, you know, I said, you know, if you, wherever you are in the world, if you head north and keep going, at some point it stops being north and you're heading south. But to measure Jesus' forgiveness as a distance of he forgives us as far as east is from the west, really put in perspective today and say, if I jumped on a jet and traveled east, how long is it before I meet west? You won't. And I know that's a simple concept, and maybe it's simple-minded of me to say it. You know, people tell me, well, Ed, you just don't know. You know, I can't forgive everything that everybody does to me. You know, if someone looked wrong at me, someone said something wrong to me. You know, to be Christian is to be Christ-like. Think about that. To be Christian is to be Christ-like. You know, if we want to be more like Christ, we have to emulate his actions. And if he will forgive us no matter what, then how can we hold on to grudges against other people around us who have done whatever to us, or thought wrong of us, or forgot about us? I want to talk about capacity for forgiveness and how when we hold on to grudges, it reduces our capacity for love and forgiving others and forgiving ourselves. We have a cup. That cup has a limited capacity. Now that's about an 8-ounce cup. So it can hold 8 ounces of water. If we compare that to our heart, if we hold on to grudges in our heart and we say, I can't forgive that person completely because of this or that, or I have to hold on to this because I can't let them hurt me again, got to keep my guard up. What do you think the capacity of that cup is, or the capacity of your heart is anymore? It's reduced by the amount of grudges and gunk that we hold on to. Just food for thought. You know, judgment. You know, the Bible says, judge not lest ye be judged. Yet, we humans are the most judgmental people, or the judgmental creatures, I guess you might say, that God's ever created. You know, it's easy when you're driving down the street, especially in Spokane. I'll say this. You see so many people on the street corners holding signs or camped out in the corner. You know, we'll work for food. We'll work for a beer or whatever. I just need help. It's so easy to make split-second judgments against those people as you're driving and say, that person is out there and I can't believe they're out there littering the street, you know, or doing whatever they're doing, or that person must be a drug addict, or that must be an alcoholic, or they just must be lazy. You know, what if Jesus looked at us that way? What if he looked down from heaven at us and said, you know, that person's praying for a miracle, or that person's praying that I help him out, you know, with bills, or that person's in need, and, you know, if they just worked harder, they'd get themselves, you know, what do they want a miracle from me for if they're not willing to work hard for themselves? Think about that. Think about that. Because no, Jesus doesn't judge us. He died for us on the cross. It's the ultimate act of forgiveness. He died for us so that we could be forgiven and so we can go to heaven. You know, that is just such a miracle. It really is. That he has so much capacity for love and forgiveness. And all he wants from us is to be closer to him. Today, make it part of your journey to forgive. Forgive no matter what. You know, and when I tell people that, they say, yeah, but Ed, I'll forgive, but I'll don't forget. You know, I can't let it go. Really? Put yourself in Jesus' shoes. You know, if he's looking down at you and you ask for forgiveness, do you want him to say, oh, but John, you did this, or you thought this, or you drove past the homeless person on the corner because you made a judgment that he was on drugs? Guess what? I believe it's incumbent upon us to help others, because it says so in the Bible. It's very clear that we're to help the stranger, we're to clothe the stranger, we're to feed them. You know, I'm not quoting exactly, but you know what I'm saying. You know, we may be the only chance that that person on the street corner realizes that someone thinks they matter. You know, I preach to the choir on this. I know that because, you know, people, we all make judgments. We do. But I ask for you today, I challenge you today to take a second look at the people around you and people outside. You know, Spokane especially, it can't be easy be an addict and then on the street. It can't be. It can't be easy to be homeless living on the street. My God, it gets to be down in the 20s and the 10s. And they're still out there. And we still go home on our way home to our warm houses, we look at the people and we point our fingers at them, or we just turn our head the other direction and look away. Don't look away today. See the humanity. See the people that are suffering. You know, I'll tell the story about how when my doctor diagnosed me 4 years ago and told me I had 2 years to live, I surrendered myself to it and I accepted it. I told myself, and I lived it, that it's okay. It's all right. And I've got what I've got, and I've lived a good life, done a lot of things, been a lot of places, known a lot of people. Maybe it's time for me to go. So, as the story goes on, when I passed the 2-year point, I started getting mad at God and challenging God, because as I got worse, I had a hard time walking, hard time talking, all kinds of things. I would challenge God at nighttime and say, why didn't you just take me? Why am I still here? And I said it blindly without even wanting to listen. So I kept saying that. And then God sent strangers to get my attention. I would be driving somebody somewhere for work. I was driving Uber at the time. And the person would get out of my car. They would go around to the driver's side, knock on my window, and answer the question that I asked God the night before. Initially I just kind of blew it off as a consequence, and no big deal. Until it got more detailed. The people would tell me a lot more details about what I said and what God said in return. You would think that would have gotten my attention and I would have woken up a little bit, but I didn't. So one day, about 13 messengers into the fiasco, I call it fiasco, but you get the point. I picked up a lady in the middle of nowhere walking across the field, and she got in my car. And I'll tell the story in more detail later, but suffice to say, she was an angel. And God sent her to reach me, and He said that people would cross paths with me, and He wanted me to have my eyes open and to help them. Very simple. And I said, okay. So a couple nights later, I picked somebody up at 1 o'clock in the morning, give him a ride. And I noticed where the guy was going. He was going in the middle of nowhere in Denver, Colorado, in the mountains. And I asked him, I said, do you live up there? And he said, no, you're taking me to a bridge. And I asked him, what do you mean a bridge? And he was really quiet. And he said, I don't want to say. And I said, okay, if you don't want to say, but, are you okay? And he said, no, I'm not okay. Well, long story short, he was having me take him to a bridge so he could jump off that bridge and end his life that night. Apparently, 2 friends earlier in the year had killed themselves. One of them was near the bridge. And it was too much for him to live with that he hadn't helped them. And they died. So, about 6 hours later, talking to them and I got in a place to call to his sister, and I took him to her house, and we got him some help. That was just the first example of what God wanted from me. Second example, the next Friday night. I'm on the way to pick up somebody, and the road in front of me, I could see somebody walking in the middle of the road. Busy road. Cars swerving by, just honking the horn at the guy. And I stopped right up on him and kind of blocked traffic from getting too close to him. I got out of the car and I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "I'm fine, just run me over." I said, "No, I'm not going to run you over. Come on, let me give you a ride." So, took him to a 7-Eleven, we got soda, and we sat there and talked for a couple of hours. He was in crisis at the time, and he needed someone to talk to. He needed to feel that he mattered. See, so many people these days feel they don't matter, so it's time to give up. So I asked him, "How can I help you?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, I'm coming off of drugs, and I'm so emotional, and I just don't want to live anymore. Life is so hard." So I called suicide prevention in Denver, and I took him to a clinic, to an inpatient place, and I sat with him while we did the intake, and he voluntarily went in and got help. Gave him my number to call. He called me back 6 months later and said, "Thank you for helping me. I'm doing better now." He was in some sort of long-term treatment facility. The challenge is open to everybody. Take a second glance at people. Don't make judgments on the fly. When you see somebody in need, stop and ask if they need help. If you don't feel safe, I get it. Don't stop and don't hurt yourself. But I carry a case of water in my truck with me, and I also have a couple dollars with me. When I see somebody in crisis on the street corner, I swing through a drive-thru, get a couple cheap burgers, and grab a couple waters, and I pull over next to them, and I get out and try to talk to them. It could be the only moment in time that the people have an opportunity to feel like they matter. Isn't that what Jesus wants us to do? It's such a beautiful day today. Do you ever stop, listen to the quiet, and appreciate what God made for us? Such beauty. Let me tell you a story about love and forgiveness and addiction. There was a guy in Denver who had a son who was basically lost to his addiction. And he so wanted a relationship with his son that he would do anything. And he asked God one day, God help me, nothing I'm doing is working. How do I reach my son? I want a relationship. I love him. So God gave him an idea. God said to the guy, love him unconditionally. And the guy digested it for a while. And he came up with an idea. He called a contractor and he added onto his house a studio apartment that had only an outside entrance, self-contained bathroom, kitchen, everything. He found his son on the street. That's where he lived at the time. And he said, hey, let me buy you lunch. No judgment. Let me buy you lunch. So he took his son to get something to eat and then took him over to the house. He said, let me show you something that I built for you. He took the son and showed him what he built. And he said, this is for you. I want you to live here. And, I'm not going to try to change you. I love you unconditionally, no matter what. He said, I don't endorse you doing drugs or anything, but I also don't want you to die out on the street. I want a relationship with you. So he had the son move in, and he told the son, there's only one condition. You live here, I'll support you. Make sure you got food, heat, whatever. But one condition, just one. Every morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to come over and have coffee with you. And you're going to tell me one good thing about your day. Son said, okay. So they set upon the journey together. The son would do what he did all day long, all night long. And in the morning, the father would go over and he'd have coffee with the son. Some days his son was coherent, some days he wasn't. But he ended his time with the son by saying, I love you. And you matter to me. I guess they fast forwarded, about a year and a half. And the father came over one morning at 10 o'clock. The son didn't answer the door. So he used his key and he went in. And the son was dead. He had overdosed at some point. The father tells a story about this. He's sad that his son is gone, but he's also feels blessed that he had the time with his son and that his son knew that he loved him unconditionally and he wasn't judgmental of him. He didn't endorse what he did, but he loved him. And the lesson on that is this. Jesus loves us unconditionally without any asterisks whatsoever. No conditions. If Jesus can do that for us, if this dad could do this for his son, then you know what? We can do that for people we love too. Make it part of your journey today to love somebody who you don't agree with. Someone who you're diametrically opposed in politics or religion or something. Reach out to that person and say, let's go have coffee. Let's talk. The way to heal a nation is to start with love and forgiveness. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk politics on here. I never do. It's as far as I'm going to go with it. But we need to forgive people. Doesn't matter if they're strangers or somebody we know. We need to forgive people like Jesus forgives us. Stop and take a moment to enjoy this moment in time today. This moment will never repeat itself. It's for you. In our introductory episode, I told you I came here to find silence. But in the forest wind, when this mallard is shaking, I realize God doesn't just take the sin, He takes the weight away from us. Stop hustling for your peace. Self-forgiveness is letting go of the handles and letting Him carry you. I said last week that sometimes it feels like He is literally carrying me. And you know what? He is. He's always by my side. He's always with me. He watches out for me and Marnie both. He loves us and we love Him. You're only standing in the mud today because He hasn't let you go. Once you realize He's carrying you, you finally will have the strength to help carry someone else. Thank you for joining us today. You matter to me, you matter to Marnie, and most importantly, you matter to God. Join us next week for the Week of Compassion, where we explore every day in our blog a deep dive into compassion. And next week's episode is compassion. Travel light, my friends. The chapter is being written.